Now, let's go into Alison Camerata and this interview that she does with a trans woman. This is fascinating because the irony of some of this is really, really going to get to you. Okay, here we go. This is the same day that she was announcing this, and she was making all those faces like, yeah, right. He says he's non-binary, and then she kept using he, him pronouns, which this is not my rules. I don't abide by those rules because I don't use pronouns based on your self-claimed gender, because I use pronouns based on if I know or assume what your sex is. And sometimes I assume, and I might be wrong. I might say sir when it might be a man that, has one of those, one of those haircuts that makes you look like a man from behind. And then I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, nice to see you or whatever. And usually, as long as you're polite to people, they don't care. But anyway, here's the interview. This is the same day that this thing that she did we found out he's non-binary. And this is an interview with somebody who is a friend of a Club Q shooting victim.
Natalie, when we started the show, we got a little bit of news earlier that the attorneys for the shooter are now saying that the shooter is non-binary.
Look at Allison's face. This pisses Allison off. Look at her face when she asks these questions. She is not having this at all.
So we got a little bit of.
She already rolled her eyes once. You see that? See a little roll of the eyes? Watch. I'm show you again. Watch her roll her eyes.
We got a little bit of news earlier that the attorneys for the shooter are now saying.
The attorneys for the shooter are now saying, not the shooter is identifying as, but the attorneys are saying this. Notice the skepticism.
That the shooter is non-binary, and the shooter would like.
Natalie wouldn't have that. Did you see her roll her eyes? Or that person there? Wait till you hear some of these answers. The irony. Ooh, the irony is thick.
We use the pronouns they, them. And this is for the court.
And Allison's eyebrows. Yeah, they them, like for real.
Court in all court papers.
And Natalie's rolling her eyes. They're all they got the whole rolly eye things. It's really funny.
It's what Anderson Aldrich's attorneys are saying.
Because Allison didn't want to say what they are saying. Again, avoid those pronouns at all costs, Allison, because you keep saying he, him. Anyway.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I rolled my eyes too when I heard that. I'm like, oh, here we go.
I think that's complete ludicrous.
Why is it completely ludicrous, Natalie? Please tell us why you think that's completely ludicrous.
I believe they're just saying that because they want to have...
Oh, at least Allison's using the pronouns. Interesting. I mean, who are they? Oh, maybe she's just talking about the lawyers and not Aldrich himself. See, I'm not using the pronouns because I don't have to, because that's not how I use pronouns. You do not control what comes out of my mouth. But anyway, is Natalie talking about the lawyers, or is Natalie talking about Aldrich? I can't tell because Aldrich uses they, them pronouns, but when you talk about the lawyers, they are they, them also. So which they, them is Natalie talking about? I'm not sure. Yeah, it makes English really hard when you start doing this shit.
The easy way out on this.
Wait a minute, the easy way out? The way out on what? The dude murdered 5 people. There's no easy way out of that. Oh, you mean the little federal hate crime part, because whatever that is. I don't think it matters what was going on through Dickhead's head when he shot 5 people, and they caught him doing it. He's going to be on trial for 5 murders and many injuries. Kind of like Darrell Brooks, but they didn't really interviewing anyone asking about Darrell Brooks and what his pronouns were or why he did it. In fact, they kind of forgot about Darrell Brooks pretty quickly. But anyway, I'm sure this one will get a little more play unless this guy's been using they, them pronouns for a while. Then maybe they'll back off. It certainly gets the media to stop talking about it a little bit because this has been a few days and they're kind of, well, they're not exactly backing off, but still, they're just changing the focus on his dad because his dad's also kind of a shitbag. But anyway.
That's really, really offending, especially being a transgender woman myself.
Why is it offending? Are you offended by somebody identifying as non-binary, Natalie? That's offending to you? Please tell us why.
That a male, which it was obvious with the mugshot, that's a man.
Irony.
That's not a non-binary person because in no way...
Wait. That's a man. It's not a non-binary person because...
in no way, shape, or form could they appear as a woman the next day.
Whoa. Did Natalie just say that a non-binary person would have to be able to appear as a woman the next day? Does Natalie not even understand what non-binary means in their dictionary? What? Why would they have to be able to appear as a woman the next day? Do you have to be a female to be non-binary, or do you have to be able to appear as a woman to be non-binary? In your world, Natalie, maybe you don't understand how this works.
It's really offensive to even hear that they're playing that role.
Your life makes me sad.
Holy shit, the complete and utter irony.
And if they're non-binary, why would you go after the club where you feel safe at?
Really? Okay, that's a good question. So if you're non-binary, why would you attack the club you're safe? Okay, since the vast majority of murders happen, the very vast majority of murders happen in communities where you're most commonly in. So you hear the words black on black crime, and people say, well, what about white on white crime? And yeah, it's true. Most black, especially violent crime among black people is from black people. The most violent crime among white people is from white people. The most violent crime in most communities, Hispanic people, is usually by Hispanic people, and so on and so forth. Most violent crime happens within the community, not from somebody from outside the community doing violence within your community. There are some exceptions. Obviously, there are cross-cultural crime, but the biggest one is the Indian American, as in Native American. I shouldn't say Indian American, not we're talking casinos, not call centers. That community, that's the one community in the United States demographically that most violent crime that happens to that victims of that crime who from that community are usually victims of crime from someone outside of that particular demographic. So let's take the non-binary shooter who claims to be non-binary, which I just don't care. But it would seem that you're most likely to have the victims of those crimes would be most likely to come from someone from within that community. For example, they talk a lot about the 31 murders of transgender people usually are by a partner is the most common perpetrator of those victims. So why would he do that within his own community? Because that's how it works. Okay, there we go. Let's move on.
Why would you do that to a community where you are welcomed in if you are non-binary?
How do you know that he was welcomed in that community? Maybe they didn't like how he looked as a non-binary. Now, the other thing this person goes on to say, which I don't have the whole clip, that you could just tell by looking at him that he's not non-binary. Really? Oh, is there a special look that non-binary people have? Well, there kind of is. There's kind of that uniform haircut that they all have. But anyway, I'm just saying.
Excellent question. Obviously, all of this will have to be answered.
Yes, and Allison, excellent question. Excellent question. It will have to be answered. Allison is so pissed off about this whole story now. She just doesn't want to talk about it, and she's not using pronouns. It's hilarious. I feel bad for Allison, but I don't feel bad for the shitbag for getting his ass kicked after doing this. Anyway, so people seem to be noticing this. Here's something that the guest said that people are noticing. This trans guest on CNN just said that, one, trans identity is completely arbitrary and only counts when they say so. And being trans leads to getting off easy in the justice system. Oh, well, that's interesting. So they point to the post-millennial article. Some on the left are now claiming the Colorado shooter deliberately changed his gender to gain an advantage from it in court due to different standards. Wait, read that sentence again slowly. Change their gender to gain an advantage from it in court due to different standards. Interesting. But yeah, all of a sudden, boy, the rules are changing because of this case. It would never happen to a person who's in prison for kind of felony sexual things that are in a men's prison, not to all of a sudden say, "Oh, I'm really a woman," or "I'm non-binary. Put me in the women's prison." That would never happen, ever. Never, ever happen. Anyway, thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep with Big 10 Spot. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.